Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Friday, December 10th, 2021. One of the headlines that actually broke late last night, but is going viral today, is former NFL star receiver Demaryius Thomas, who played for the Denver Broncos, is dead at the age of 33 in Atlanta on the 33rd parallel. And if you recall, Super Bowl 33 was won by the Denver Broncos over the Atlanta Falcons. So you have a former Denver Bronco dead in Atlanta, the city on the 33rd parallel at age 33. And consider the day he died, the news cycle began that day with the death of a 33-year-old rapper who was from Compton on the 33rd parallel, coast to coast. Dead black males, 33 years old, from the world of entertainment. And the thing about this is Atlanta just won the World Series 37 days before the death of Demaryius Thomas. Now, as I've always said, there's one cipher that's more important than all other ciphers. Just like Manly P. Hall wrote about in The Secret Teachings of All Ages, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Atlanta Braves equals 37. He's dead 37 days after the Braves won the World Series November 2nd, which was the anniversary of Hank Aaron being released by the Braves. And remember, Hank Aaron died at the beginning of this year on January 22nd, the 22nd day of the year. Now, Demaryius Thomas has died on the day leaving 22 days left in the year, December 9th. 22-22 in Gematria. Braves is 22, like Thomas, like Aaron. Again, there's that song, Gematria, the killing name. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. Comes from Kabbalah. You know, the police have the song Murder by Numbers, where killings as simple as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And for 8 years straight, we've been documenting these patterns. What adds insult to injury about this ritual is he's died on a date with 42 numerology. And again, it's all about Hank Aaron in Atlanta this year with the Braves winning the World Series. Hank Aaron retired from Major League Baseball at age 42. And that's why the Braves won the World Series 4-2. And if you watch my live call on Jorge Soler's deciding game home run, I felt it coming because it was the 42nd pitch of the game. He jacked it out of the park to make the score 3-0 in the third inning. Again, that team from the 33rd parallel. And again, just again and again, the same old, same old. Now, here's what else there is to think about. This death is a tribute to NFL past. I posted this on Twitter, and some younger person said, I don't get it, though. He didn't play on that Super Bowl team, so why would they kill him? And again, he's a younger person, so, his brain's not fully developed, but there weren't any 33-year-olds on the Super Bowl. There's no 33-year-olds alive on the Super Bowl 33 Broncos team. They would have had to have been 10 years old to play on that Broncos team. If you're part of this rigged NFL network, which is a family affair, that's why the whole league shares profits, again, you are vulnerable to becoming a ritual sacrifice for the rigged NFL. Now, consider the night he died was the opening week of NFL Week 14, and the word dead equals 14. And last night, Thursday Night Football on the 9th of December was what? It was a tribute to Super Bowl IX. The teams that played last night were the Vikings and the Steelers. And again, that was the Super Bowl IX matchup. Early in the game, the score was 9-0. At halftime, the score was 23-0. 23 is the ninth prime number. The entire game is a rigged ritual of numbers. The first touchdown of the game was a 14-yard touchdown pass to start Week 14 to a wide-open number 18, Jefferson, which was a 61-yard drive. 61's the 18th prime. Again, you learn this knowledge. You see how rigged the game is. You see how rigged the ritual sacrifices are. And again, with regards to it being a family affair, I'm tired of reading the families of these players coming out and making statements, making excuses. Demaryius Thomas's family's come out and said that he had medical problems and this must have been, related to his history of seizures. Come on. He died on his 350th day of his age. The key digits there are 35. 35. In Chaldean and septenary gematria, football and Super Bowl are 35. The first ever Super Bowl was won by the Packers with 35 points. Thursday equals 35 like Catholic. All roads lead to Rome. And in light of him dying on the 9th, at 33, what's the square root of 9? 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Again, the night of a Super Bowl 9 tribute. His death, a tribute to Super Bowl 33. And, on top of that, he played in 153 career games, playoffs and regular season, 143 in the regular season, 10 in the playoffs. Jesuit Order is 153. That's who's essentially behind these codes, these ritual sacrifices, the gang that's been warned about for centuries, known as killers. That's why they were once even suppressed by the Pope, because there was rumors that they were murdering people. But 153 is the 17th triangular number. He died a span of 17 days from his birthday. You could also say he died 16 days before his birthday. When you write out 16 as a word, it equals 33. But you know what day his birthday is? It's Christmas, Jesus' birthday. And what age did Jesus supposedly die? 33, right? 33. Sunday is the one day of the week that has Gematria 33. Christian day, football day. And the date of his passing, it did have 42 numerology. I'm going to read from chapter 18 of my first book about the ritual shaming and ritual murder of black people in connection to 42. But it was also a date with 62 numerology, and sacrifice is 62, as is Houston, Texas, where the Braves just won the World Series. Remember Astro World 62? A lot of deaths at the Astro World Festival right after the Astros lost to the Braves. And then Astro from UB40 died. All of these things are human ritual sacrifice. And again, I remember when I was in school, they would teach us about how these ancient civilizations had all these old wacky beliefs and they would sacrifice people to their gods. Again, nothing's changed. The Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon. All this stuff goes back to Babylon. And again, dying on the 42 date numerology, we'll learn a lot more about 42 in a moment. I noticed that this death also came 42 days after Terrell Davis's birthday. He was the MVP of Super Bowl 32, also won by the Broncos the year before Super Bowl 33. Elway was the MVP of 33. But remember, on the same day that Demaryius Thomas died, the news began that day with the death of the 33-year-old rapper Slim 400. And again, we covered this yesterday morning, but also 33 from Compton, which equals 33 on the 33rd parallel, like Atlanta. His birth name, Vincent 33. Slim 400 equals 21 like Jesuit, dead 21 days after Young Dolph, who died in a very Jesuit ritual. And they had a song together that had a single with album or cover art with both their names on a tombstone. So I won't recover all this, but again, this news broke the day that Demaryius Thomas died, and similar stories because they both died at nighttime, or the news broke late at night, but then it was really a bigger story the next day. And also on this same day, Jussie Smollett, or however you say his name, Smollett, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but weird name regardless. From when this story broke in 2019 on January 29th, that was a date with 42 numerology. He was indicted on the 42nd day of the year, and then they waited to give the verdict on the 42 date numerology. And all along the way, from beginning to end, it was all about 42, including the two Nigerian brothers whose names have the 42 connection. And what's funny is he's the Empire actor. Slim 400 was on Empire Records, and these guys have the same birthday, June 21st. Jussie, born June 21st, 82. Slim 400, born June 21st, 88. He's with Empire Records. Jussie's in the show Empire. Keep in mind, Empire has Gematria 39 forwards. Jussie's 39 years old when the verdict comes. Empire in reverse is 33. Again, alphabetic order, forwards, backwards. He's 39. The rapper's 33 with the same birthday. What are the odds? But from the beginning to the end, all 42, and then he's guilty on 5 out of 6 charges in the clear Black Lives Matter ritual. Black Lives Matter, Gematria 56. 1 million Black Lives Matter rituals to date with 56. Here comes the latest. And that's how this whole thing started. So if you missed yesterday's coverage of this, go back and check that out. I reviewed, the stories that we documented from when it began in 2019. But all of this stuff is ritual, and it's essentially ritual shaming. CNN made all of these things top headlines yesterday on the 42-date numerology. Of course, they had this up there, the Jussie story. Then they made this a top story. A viral image of a black fetus is highlighting the need for diversity in medical illustrations. And then they also put this up there. A black couple had a white friend show their home, and its appraisal rose by nearly $500,000. But if you pay attention, every single time the 42-date numerology comes around, stories just like this, Every time there's a black player who beats his girlfriend in the NFL, it's on a 42-date numerology. It just happened just a couple weeks back. On the day leaving 42 days left in the year, that was the story in the NFL. Zach Stacy beat his girlfriend and was arrested. And it's been like this from the very beginning. This is the topic I've probably talked about the most out of all the topics we've covered. But the racial shaming by the same repetitive number over and over and over. And, I noticed last night I went on YouTube, and you know how when you log onto YouTube, it'll show you what's on the homepage. It'll show you what's going on, what's live, what's popular. This video was the top thing when I logged on, and I never watched any of these channels right here. And but I saw that they were talking about Jussie Smollett, however you say his name, found guilty, and it had almost 10,000 people watching, and so I was like, okay, let's see what's going on in here. So I clicked on it, and man, just Super Chat City. I mean, there was $300 in Super Chats up on the screen. 50, 50, 50, 50, 20, 50. I was just and just money just flowing in. I mean, I have no idea how much money this live stream made, but in the time I was in there watching it, I could only stomach about 5 minutes of it, and I just had to turn it off. But, to quote Malcolm X, these were the house Negroes right here. This was the convention of house Negroes. And again, it was no wonder it was being promoted to the top of YouTube. This is exactly what they want out of these contrived stories. People getting emotionally invested. Essentially what these four guys were saying is, Jussie's a disgrace to black males. He's a reminder that, a lot of black men don't grow up with fathers in the house, so they don't know how to act like men. And keep in mind that the main guy talking is a guy who has massive bitch tits, who's saying fathers need to be in the home to be good examples for their sons like he is for his children. I was like, man, you have bitch tits hanging through a t-shirt that says Police Lives Matter, and you're a good example to your children with your bitch tits? I had to look up how old this guy is. He's only 34 years old, and you already got big bitch tits like that? Come on, man. That's not any example to your children, to be a fat slob with a Police Lives Matter t-shirt as a black man? Are you serious? Police that uphold the laws that have been made to enslave black men in cages? That there's no honorable black man in this nation that's a police officer, and that's what it turns out he is. He's also marketing his book that just came out about being a black police officer in the United States. But I'm sorry, it's not just even about black and white. There's no honorable man who's a police officer, because police uphold the laws of these tyrants that keep us in the state we're in. The reason I can't lead the revolution that needs to happen is because we have so many police in this giant police military surveillance state. All the people who sign up for police and military are the reason that the tyrants exist and get away with the tyranny that they do every day, which includes shaming black men ritualistically with the media they control. So you got these four house Negroes on here. People are just piling in the money. It just watching this for the 5 minutes that I did last night, it just made me sick, and it just reminded me how wrong society is. How dumb people got to be tuning into this, donating to this, supporting this. I mean, these guys made $1,000 in the 5 minutes I was in there, just talking nothing but shit. It even showed a clip of Denzel Washington, Jesuit-educated Denzel Washington as what a black male should be. It's really going to Hollywood, but again, I mean, these are four men that are doing exactly what the media wants them to do. Demonizing black males, and that's essentially what these four black men were doing. Demonizing so many black males, on the 42 date, and it's probably not an accident that it's probably not an accident these four, and what, come on, man, look at three of these guys. They got U.S. flags in the background. Like, who is so proud of the U.S. flag, especially as a black male? Well, what is to be proud of with the U.S. flag? A nation that lies to its people every day about everything. A nation that's always at war, killing people of darker shades. I mean, this is just such an Orwellian scene here. And then the other thing they were doing is talking about, when I was in there, they were talking about how Donald Trump needs to sue Jussie, and we need Donald Trump back as the leadership. It's like, God, four black men that want Trump back as the president? Trump is a guy who is known for not renting to black people because he said they were bad tenants. Trump's a guy that, he casts hate towards every group of people out there. But how are you going to be a black male and be supportive of a racist Donald Trump? Oh, my God. So anyway, I had to look more into this this Officer Tatum guy because I noticed he had 1.74 million subscribers. And, it could be coincidental, but Brandon Tatum does equal 181, the 42nd prime. And, they mentioned that he was one of the 78 top high school football players in his class. And that's interesting. And they also mentioned that his uncle was a great NFL football player. But I noticed that his full name is 78, like Jesuit. And remember John Thompson, who taught at Jesuit Georgetown? He died in a big 78 ritual on a Sunday, on a 78 date numerology on a Sunday. And with Brandon Tatum's big bitch tits, he'd be lucky to make it to age 78. He's only 34 and already fat as fuck. But Brandon Orlando Tatum, his full name 78 like Jesuit, and then his book, Beaten Black and Blue, about being a black police officer. I noticed it's 144 pages long, and the title equals 54 like Jesuit order. And we know that Google, which is, YouTube's a part of, is controlled by the Jesuits. That's why they celebrate their birthday on the day that was the day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history, September 27th, and Sundar Pichai's name equals the Jesuit order. But, and again, these guys are trumping for Trump, who's a Jesuit, so it might be all in the family. And, again, why does this guy get a Wikipedia page? Because his uncle was in the NFL? Like, what? So... But I just hate how controlled these platforms are and how trash information's always promoted to the top, always the most viral stuff. But then you just see how it fleeces the sheep, man. The sheep just love it. The sheep just love it. So, yeah, man. I mean, that's where it is in America. Ignorance, man. If you just stay in that ignorant lane, you'll just attract everybody. And it's just like all the trashiest YouTube truth channels are just like promoting nothing but ignorance and nonsense, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I think us in this community, we're up here and everybody else is just like, I can't even put my arm down low enough to show where they're at. And they just can't get on our level. They can't appreciate this. They're always just staying in the low vibration, the low intellect, they're down in the sewer, man. They travel in the sewer. It's like these people are rats, sewer rats. They're used to the sewer. The sewer's where they dwell. They don't want to come up where the light is at. So, anyway, in case any of those four are out there and catch wind of this stream here, let me read you from a book that I guarantee you is a gazillion times better than Beaten Black and Blue. Let's read chapter 18, How the Media Programs the Purposeful Race War. So it begins. You're likely aware of the number 42 being associated with Jackie Robinson, said to be the first black baseball player in white Major League Baseball. If you saw the film put out about his story, titled 42, it got criticism for using the word N, you know what N is, too often. It is reminiscent of how in the O.J. Simpson trial, it was reported under testimony that Mark Furman was heard using the word N 42 times in a single conversation. But ask yourself the question, who would ever keep such a count? Excuse me. Can you imagine someone tallying each use of the word and then going, my God, 42 times? I'm going to remember this. As we'll get to, the entire O.J. Simpson trial was a made-for-TV hoax by the numbers meant to create racial animosity as it did, and was scripted by the long noses. With that said, let's get to what the number 42 is all about. So the N-word, Nigger, added up, it equals 42, as does Jackie, as does Orenthal, which is O.J. Simpson's first name. O is for Orenthal. Brothers, boy, bus, all these words equal 42. Slavery, history, Tuskegee, February, Martin, Malcolm X, Huxtable, Muhammad Ali, LeBron James. If you watch the sitcom Martin, he lived in apartment 42, and now you know why. Also, for historical accuracy, Jackie, who wore number 42, was not the first black baseball player in white Major League. If you look at MLB.com, that honor belongs to Moses Walker, who played in exactly 42 career games. And want to guess his name, Gematria? Of course, Moses Walker equals 42. And let's not forget that last year, on the day that was Jackie Robinson Day in 2020, which was moved because it was the coronavirus season, Chadwick Boseman, who played in 42, died, and he died at age 42, but as we documented, everyone changed his birthday to 1 year prior so that his age of death was 43. But again, you can prove he still died at age 42 because look up all the stories that were published in June of that year before his death in August about how he was dying from cancer at age 42. His birthday was November, so he wouldn't have turned 43 until November of that year. And again, he died 3 months before that. And again, it just shows you how manipulated everything is, too, because they had to change his age of death because it would have been too obvious, dying at 42 on Jackie Robinson Day after starring in 42. And on the subject of Jackie Robinson, I should mention that on January 31st, 2018, what would have been his 99th birthday, there were 3 celebrity deaths reported in the media, all of which were individuals being of African descent. Those individuals were Oscar Gamble, former MLB star who died 42 days after his own birthday, which was December 20th, 2017. Razuel Butler, a former NBA star who died in a car accident like Jackie's son, and LaTanya Lemon, the sister of Don Lemon of CNN News. Adding insult to injury, all 3 of these people had names summing to 42. As you'll learn, this is just a short list of Black history-related items and the number 42. And just consider, since I finished this book, I mean, we've documented 1,000 more. Every time it rolls around every single month, we document more and more and more. And what's sad is there's just so many, like it's hard to even remember them. Watch, in a month, I'll forget Demaryius Thomas and Slim 400. But it happened. The number is also coded in more ways than just names, such as Rodney King, who was beaten by the LAPD, by the police, like Brandon Tatum. Is that what his book's about, Beating Black and Blue? Is it about the Rodney King beating and the race war propaganda? You had to appreciate how Jacob Blake was born in 91, the year of the Rodney King beating, and then that set off the riots in Kenosha. And then the Dodgers called up their player from Kenosha at the same time it was going on. And then Mookie Betts led the MLB protest 42 days from his birthday after getting traded to the Dodgers on February 4th, 4/2 in Black History Month. Before they won the World Series, their first World Series in 32 years over the Rays, like there's 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. But anyway, Rodney King beaten by the LAPD March 3rd, 1991. 3-3. Police, masonry, secrecy, order, federal, all 33, so was race war. March 3rd, 1991, and was said to have been born April 2nd, 1965, or 4/2, not unlike 42. In the case of his name, Gematria, it equates to 59, the other number stamped on Black history and closely related to 42. Take a look again at the N-word. Nigger, and notice how the breakdown is 597759 with a sequence of 59 twice within. We learned a bit about this number in the chapter on wars by the numbers in the Civil War ending May 9th, 1865, or 59. On the subject, let us decode the name gematria of Rodney King, who supposedly died of accidental drowning at the curious age of 47. As we decode, think about how his name reminds of the great civil rights leader. So Rodney King equals 59. Then I say, let us now decode the numbers 5 and 9, noticing how they both connect back to the number 42. So if you write out 5 as a word and spell it out, it has Gematria 42, same with 9. As for LaTonya Lemon, who we just mentioned dying at age 42 on Jackie's birthday, the story was she tripped and drowned in a pond while fishing. As unlikely as that story is, the gematria of pond tells us what really happened. Pond equals 59 like lemon. Let us now revisit some of the 59 words that connect to the black race through the English language, a language crafted by the false Jews who have stolen the identity of the real Jews, those of African descent, who are the black people of the world. As we decode, let us not forget that the false Jews also opened Motown Records, the black label, in 1959, emphasis on 59 and on the 42nd parallel north, where Detroit is located. Let us also not forget that the first famous black golfer in a predominantly white sport, who is now being shamed regularly in the media, is named Tiger Woods, where the word tiger is a substitute for the N-word in the old rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Tiger's birthday is also December 30th, or 12 plus 30 equals 42. Then I show Negro 59, Slave 59, Blues 59, Rasta 59, Jigaboo 59, Cotton Picker 59, Tiger 59, Woods 59, Huey 59, of course that's who founded the Black Panther Party, Louis, as in Farrakhan, 59, Ali 59, Obamacare 59, Eminem 59, think about that one, from Detroit. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Cracker 59, Jack Robinson 59, Michael Jordan 59, Black Mamba 59, Stokely Carmichael 59, Dr. Ben Carson 59, Black History Month 59. The reason I put Ben Carson in there is because he was in the media a lot at the time this book came out. February ends on the 59th day of the year. That's Black History Month again. Now we will reestablish why the numbers 42 and 59 are stamped on black people. It has everything to do with the Bible, where the code comes from. Again, the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus Christ, the Savior, who was black, as is made clear in Revelation 1, where the hair of wool and glowing bronze skin is described. New Testament has Gematria 42, as does Savior. See the Egyptians' 42 laws of Ma'at, which begins with I have not sinned. In septenary gematria, Jesus Christ equals 59. Outside of the Bible, in Season 4, Episode 2 of the hit TV show The 100, which has a major biblical angle, including crucifixions, the 47-year-old Thelonious Jaha, who becomes a sort of spiritual messiah as the show progresses, tells the story of how he oversaw the deaths of 42 people in Sector 5, before he became a better man, more enlightened. Notice the name gematria of the character, who is commonly called Jaha for short, and please know that a black man plays the part of this character. So his name, Thelonious Jaha, equals 59, and then Jaha alone has the same gematria as Jesus. The long noses are actively putting out the truth for the world to see, but they aren't expecting anyone to pick up the code and make sense of the information they're releasing through their propaganda news and endless entertainment. All of that is about, and by the way, somebody told me in the new Candyman movie, which is about a man who was killed as a slave and then returns as this, demonic ghost that murders people if you say his name in the mirror, but somebody said they had to put a big old 42 on the wall in the film. By the way, that's in Chicago, where the Jussie Smollett thing just went down, where R. Kelly got in big trouble on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, September 27th, at the age of 54, like Jesuit order. All of that is about to change, however, and I know the black people who are the most awake to the tyranny of this world due to the circumstances they so often face, and who are blessed to find this knowledge, are going to connect dots fast, coming to understand why there is an agenda to destroy them as a people. It is about jealousy, it is about envy, it is about greed, and it is about burying the truth in lies while recreating history the way they want it to be remembered. In light of the coding of 59 on the black race and the agenda to destroy, let us not forget the word kill equates to 59 in Jewish gematria, and Jesus Christ, who was a black man, who was a Jew, was put to death by the false ones on the crucifix. On the subject of the killing cross, please recall that crucifix, God's Son, Nazareth, Gospels, and more equate to 93 in gematria terms. We're going to use this number to transition into the deaths of two of the most remembered black leaders in the history of the United States, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., who were both killed at age 39. Before we get to their deaths, however, we must look again at the Gematria of Black History Month. As we decode, keep in mind the history of the Tuskegee study, which supposedly began in 1932, Negro equals 32, by observing 399 black men with untreated syphilis. Many historians contend that in truth, these men were injected with syphilis to observe what symptoms they would take on after being given the disease. In Gematria, Black History Month equals 93, Tuskegee equals 93, Huxtable equals 93, that's the name from the Cosby Show. Important points to mention that will factor into the encoding of the names Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., neither of which were their birth names, are that the two men only met one time in history, March 26, 1964, a date with numerology of 93, which was precisely a span of 333 days before the assassination of Malcolm X on February 21st, 1965. And in the case of King, he also gave a well-remembered speech on April 3rd, 1968, the 93rd day of the year in non-leap years, the day before his assassination, hinting that he might soon be gone. That speech is remembered as, "I've been to the mountaintop." Malcolm X in Gematria I show equals 93. Martin Luther King Jr. equals 93. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks equals 93. That's Rosa Parks. And again, I got the date numerology up there, show how that's calculated for the 93 date the two men met on. But yeah, I mean, and then I just go on. There's a lot more to this chapter, but I just show all the ways in history that the same numbers keep coming together, 42, 59, 93. And yeah, from back then up to the time I finished the book, you know. How HIV traces to Africa and the Belgian Congo in 59, and of course HIV's 42, and you know it predominantly impacts black communities. But just a whole bunch of stuff is in here. I mean, it's a long chapter. Here I show the Darren Wilson, the Michael Brown killer, how they put him out in the media with a picture with a big 42 on his shirt that says Blues. It's down near St. Louis in Ferguson. You know, don't forget recently George Floyd killed on the 93rd Meridian West in Minneapolis, Minnesota to set it off. I mean, they just do the same thing over and over and over. But yeah, I show this example of Liberia being Ebola-free after 42 days without a new case. Just, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff in here. So it's chapter 18 of my first book, Letters and Numbers. And, yeah, I mean... I could easily write a book this big alone on all the 42, 59 shit I've documented in the 8 years I've been doing this research with black history. So, yeah, it just makes me sick, man, that, like, but that's what it is. It's like the people who control this world, I mean, they control it, and they control the people with it, and they tempt, like, I guarantee these four goons right here, they're on somebody's payroll. These four guys right here are on somebody's payroll. Right here. You know, and it looks like Tatum, who's the leader of it, was born into it. You know, he's got family in professional sports, which is a family affair. A lot of them are connected to this Jesuit Masonic network. And, I mean, he's in police. Police is all masonry. But it just makes me sick that this is the shit that's getting out. This is what's attracting the minds of the masses. And, I mean, just, when really it should be, you know, 100,000 people in a live stream being like, "Oh my God, they're doing this 42 thing again. Look at the dead black men in the news. Look at the shaming of this Jussie character." And realize at the end of the day, Jussie, he probably had a choice to not participate in this ritual. But again, when you're in entertainment, you're on puppet strings for these people. You know, it probably wasn't Jussie's idea to stage the attack on the 42 date numerology that ended in this eventual ritual of a black guy trying to get sympathy. Yeah, it's just, this is just more divisive propaganda so that people could fight over it and do shit like what these guys did last night. So. Let me see, what time is it? 9:47. Again, I'm not quite finished with my latest book, and I'm trying to spend all my time on that, but there's probably some people that want to phone in and chime in with something else that I'm missing, so We will take a little bit of calls, but probably not more than 20 minutes. So don't, call in and try to talk for 5 minutes. Just call in a minute or two, something helpful, something insightful, something related. And the phone line should be open. So if you want to call in, it is that number on the screen, 509-560-4982. And I will take a peek at the chat. Okay. Again, trolls in the chat. Always trolls in the chat. Yeah, it's just... Troll galore today? Well, what else is new? I do see the super chat. Thank you for that. And he says, hit the like. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, 602 is calling in. 602?
Hey, what's up, Shazam? Appreciate you having me on, man. I'll be quick, and I really kind of just want to add another perspective. That's normally what I do when I call in, but like you were saying earlier, how Jesse probably didn't even decide to do that shit because everything, he might have a choice, but he probably didn't decide. And I think they be signing up for things, but there are certain things they probably don't sign up for. And the reason why I say that is because right now I'm doing a lot of things right now as far as creativity, right? And I have a certain name that I use, and just for shits and giggles, I type my name into the Gematria calculator, and then I got that one thing that allows you to see other words that just match up with it. You can scroll down and look. And when I did, there were so many things that I said that actually described my life to a T, like things that I've done, things that I've been involved in, things that if let's say I did make it and they were to come up with something, they could use my name. They could use some of those things that tied to my name that I actually was involved with, and then create a story, and it could be a situation where I'm being used. Like I might be a victim of it, or if I don't give a damn, if I'm with the shit, I might do it. You know what I mean? And that makes me think that there's always bigger forces going behind that, because I'm not tied to anybody. I'm not linked up with any Jesuit order or nothing like that. But when I put my name in there were things that I've seen that I'm like, damn, that's crazy. What specifically, I'm in Arizona, and one of the big things I'm representing is the Southwest, right? And when I typed in that name, Southwest came up. Other things that I was in my childhood that I was into, that type of phrases and certain things came up. I'm like, this is crazy. How is this shit already in here like that? You know what I mean? Who did that? So I know part of it is it is control, but I also think that can speak to a higher element being involved. But the fact that we can do something about it. We can do something about it. Even if there's something else involved, they're calling on something different, whatever they're calling on, we can call on something too. So I don't think it's all hope lost if we have a spiritual element to it. And I just wanted to add that. I'll shut up.
Okay, yeah. And again, I mean, decoding your own name is, you can do that if you want, but that's not what we do. We focus on how, when the 42 date numerology rolls around, there's a lot of dead black people and shaming of black people, every single time, like a perfect script every single time.
Right.
And again, I always say, don't go apply this to yourself. We're focusing on what the media is doing to program the masses. That's the point. So anyway, appreciate the call, man.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I was saying more or less what I'm saying is they could create a perfect script. They could use my shit to also create a perfect script. But I'm saying I don't have to necessarily be they can take my information and still do the shit they normally do with everybody else, and then plug a new person inside of that. And they can pick the people that they already have allotted to them, the ones that already kind of agreed to it. So I agree that it's a perfect script. I'm just saying as well, some of these things probably they might not have to contrive some of that shit. Some of that shit probably was already there based off of some of the coding in those people's names as well, and they just create the script from it. But you have a good day, man.
All right. All right. Yeah. So many people are just tempted to do the same thing as like look at their own numbers and be like, oh man, I could fit in with one of these scripts. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're showing how systematically the news is rolling out, how the rituals are done. Again, that's the point of the work, not to apply it to your own self. You're not part of the news programming, you're not part of the script. So, what's up, Neil?
Oh, shit. What's good, Zach? Real quick, man, just wanted to add a few things to this Slim 400 death. It's obviously it's a huge, that 33 ritual. I don't know if you caught that Empire itself swims to 33, and Young Dolph swims to 137, the 33rd prime. And again, Slim 400 was also signed to YG. YG's real name is Keenan Jackson, again, 137 as well, the 33rd prime. And Young Dolph died on a 33 date numerology. Of course, Slim 400 is now dead at the age of 33. And he died exactly 33 weeks before Young Dolph's upcoming birthday. And then a few more points. Slim 400, his most popular song is titled Bruisin'. There's a music video out on YouTube. And it currently sits at 33 million views during the time of his 33-year-old
How
death.
did he die on a 33 date numerology?
Young Dolph.
Young Dolph did. Okay. Yeah, Young Dolph. Okay.
Yeah, Young Dolph died on 33-day numerology. Now this guy, Slim 400, is dead exactly 33 weeks before Young Dolph's upcoming birthday. And another thing is his latest album, Slim 400. His latest album was titled Ice Water Army, which released on August 20th, 2021. That also had a 33-day numerology as well.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, just wanted to add that in there, man.
All right, appreciate it. Good work, Neil. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah, and about all the trolls in the chat, again, they're only here when we get something wrong. And yesterday, the truth is we put out 2 picks because it's Thursday. It's almost always 35 on Thursday. One game hit and the other didn't. So it was a break-even day. It's not like it was a bad day. One game came through, and normally both of them come through. And people have made a lot of money with this knowledge, and especially on Thursdays. So the thing about the Vikings winning yesterday, they became 6-2 at home all time versus the Steelers. 8th ever home game. They won by a difference of 8 points, 36 combined points, the 8th triangular number, but became 6-2 at home all time versus the Steelers on the 62 date numerology, which was something we talked about as possible. Plus Pittsburgh equals 58, and Kirk Cousins got his 58th win yesterday and stayed on 58 losses. So there were some things there, but the 35 that did hit was in the Philadelphia basketball game. Doc Rivers yesterday picked up his 35th loss with Philly, staying on 63 wins with Philly against the Jazz. Jazz equals 63. And, most Thursdays you don't hear anything from the trolls because they don't have anything to say. But that's why the people that hang around and just wait for something to be wrong, I mean, they're just sorry fucking losers, period, end of discussion. And what we've proven is a science that, routinely makes a lot of money for a lot of people. So, if so many people weren't making so much money off what they've been doing with the rigging of Thursdays, the outcome might have been the typical 35 ritual in the NFL. It was a little bit surprising the Steelers didn't win since they had the 35s yesterday. But, there were 2 games with 35s on the board, and it split. For the person in the chat who says we are part of the script, that's why they give us social security numbers, I suppose you could become part of the script. I mean, there is a reason they put a number on everything. But again, just so many people, when I'm trying to expose what the media is doing to program the masses and how people are being sacrificed, they're calling in and they're talking about their personal numbers. And I mean, all that stuff's interesting, but the focus is on getting people to understand what's being done to society. How society's being programmed, how the rituals are being conducted. So. Okay, well, if we don't have any calls today, we can leave it there. And again, thank you for everyone who tuned in, and thank you to everyone who likes and shares the video. Until next time, Truth Seeker.